this next segment, you will see an Islamic prayer said aloud. All worshippers stand side by side because it doesn't matter who's rich or poor, no status is represented. When a Muslim prays or thanks God, he does so in the same fashion and form that was taught to Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and all of the previous prophets of God. As you see in this video, when a Muslim prays, he places his forehead on the ground in total submission to God Almighty. In the Muslim culture, Islamic prayer brings us closer to our Creator and helps us to be less worldly and to focus on inner purification of the heart and thus the soul. Congregational prayer helps us bring the community closer and together be more caring of one another. In this next clip, we will talk to the head of the mosque, Andrea, to see her personal experience about becoming a Muslim 25 years ago.
Just like in anything in life, there's always a struggle to follow what you believe is right. Even if you believe it's right, doesn't mean you're perfect all the time and you do everything right. It's that struggle to follow it. So what I would cherish about the religion? Oh, that's a good question.
Did you grow up being Muslim?
No, I converted in college.
Okay.
What color drew you to it?
Yeah.
What's that?
What drew you to it?
What drew me to Islam was the intellectual proofs, if you may. I was a political science major, French minor, so I kind of look at things like a certain way. So not necessarily the black and white, but I need to have proof. If I'm going to do something, I'm not going to do it just because my parents said or my mom said or that's what the in crowd is doing or whatever. So when I found something that was intellectually stimulating, that answered all the questions, then I felt like my faith could then be blind, but it can't be blind from the basis. The basis has to be structurally sound. Then things you may feel are a little bit on blank face sometimes, but that's because your structure was sound. So that's probably what drew me to it.
And how did you find it? Is it something that you yourself went seeking, or did a friend of you?
Kind of,
friend
you
of
know,
yours?
it's really funny because, so I'm from Michigan,
Okay.
and I got a scholarship to go to Michigan State, and I was going to go there. Yeah, thank you. This is way back in the day. It feels funny to even say that. So I had this scholarship, which was a, it was based on testing. It wasn't just money. But because my parents made whatever amount they did, they had to take the scholarship away. So my parents said, do you want to go? We'll take out loans and do this, that, and the other. Or you can stay here and go to the community college, but you could live in the dorms at the university. So I took about a week to think about it, and then I said, I can't do it to my parents to make them take out a loan. And my mom got a job at the university, so I was going to have free.
Yeah.
Right then, at that point, I was still at the community college. So I moved into the dorm, which happened to be an international dorm. That's where I had space. And interestingly enough, my mom's parents, so my grandparents were dorm directors at that dorm when my mom was little. So my mom had lived in that dorm as well.
Wow.
So I got there, and I grew up in the country. I went to a Catholic church. There was just a couple churches in our town. Our town has like 4 lights. We had 200 people in our graduating class in high school. So a very small town, and everybody's white. There was like 2 African American, a brother and sister, or 1 person from like a Hispanic origin. So I grew up, while I grew up in that environment, my family is in law and a lot of other things. So I grew up still learning about the world and about culture and about that there's something outside of my little town.
Sure, yeah.
So when I got to the dorms, that was probably the thing that interested me the most is here's all these people from all over the world.
Right.
So it didn't matter what like the religion was or anything, I just loved the culture.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, I wanted to learn about religion for myself. Like, I like the people in my Catholic church. Did not have a bad, reaction or response or problem with the Catholic Church. I just did not feel, it did not answer my questions here, and I needed it. I just thought they believed in like Zeus or something, and they hate women, they have to wear those black things, and they don't like them. That's what I knew. And Ayatollah Khomeini, that's all I knew about Islam. So it was a couple-year process for me to understand that there was a whole bunch more to it than I knew.
Yeah.
So, you know, a couple of years into studying it, I converted.
Yeah.
So it was like 25 years ago now. I need a whole day. So yeah, that was interesting.
No, that's perfect because I think for us, what we really want to expand on is people's perception, like just like your initial perception of the faith. And I think that we want to take this opportunity to educate people about
sure.
more what it is. Like.
That's so awesome because, you know, like this was obviously, this was 1986, so we're talking way prior to 9/11, but not so long after the Iranian Revolution. So in our town too, the university had a ton of foreign students. The largest foreign students were coming, the largest amount was coming from Indonesia, which is the largest Muslim country in the world, which is not an Arab country. And then after that, like half as many was the next highest country. So, you know, even though I didn't meet a lot of Indonesian students, I saw their presence. You know, they dressed distinctly. So yeah, it's a lifelong learning experience because you learn that's what I had to keep going through. You learn Islam, and you lose culture. Islam, somebody's culture, Arab, Pakistani, Chinese, Muslim, you know, Indian, whatever it is. So you have to keep seeing what is your culture and what does the Islam tell you. So your culture in Saudi Arabia tells you where that black thing, this is not what Islam mandates, for example. So that's a lifelong learning experience. It never ends. But I think because we're taken out of our element here, taken out of the element of the like regular American society into a new one, we have everything at our fingertips to learn. Whereas I think it's harder for the folks that come from overseas because they grew up not even knowing there was something to distinguish between their culture and Islam. And sometimes it's not really a problem. Okay, what kind of cup you like to wear and what color you like your socks to be or whatever.
Right.
So they come here and this whole world opens up to them because they're taken out of that cultural element. They got to choose here. So do I want to follow Islam or do I want to stick with my culture? Sometimes it's congruent, works, it's fine. Sometimes there's that, culture does this, it's not a very good thing. Let me follow Islam.
Visiting the mosque was very educational. We had an amazing time, and we would recommend for any of you guys to go and to learn more about what it means to be Muslim. Thank you.